Right, so Ash 4 in the series of extreme paranoia, and it's about, really, all I know is about women, really. To say that I'm a lonely single man is a terrible thing to say, isn't it? Crap, really. But, mentally, mine's, about paranoia to do with over-controlling parents or guardians as a kid or an adolescent regarding their romantic development, sexual urges and interests, and seeking partners that a parent or guardian can crush, destroy, subvert forever through their disapproval of particular boyfriends. Extreme, really awful constriction, restriction and objection to and discouragement of certain boyfriends or people, types, or and then these women reject all of this and do what they want their own way they want to do it, and choose their own partners and people, and feel independent and confident enough to do that. It can result in them choosing the complete opposite of what these ultra-conservative, basically, ultra-right-wing, conservative, controlling parents or guardians try and do to oppose it in their formative adolescent years. And so the adult woman can end up only ever choosing the people that they choose can be quite very destructive for them, but the overreaction, the over-response of their controlling parents breaks forever sometimes the young woman's ability to respond to or accept any sense of control from a man or conservatism in terms of romance and sex or relationship, and and end up being very disrespectable, unrespectable, not wanting to be respected. No, it's not. Ended up sometimes with just really destructive people who lead them into addiction, or they lead themselves into addiction, along with this corresponding romantic type of choice, and can end up with paranoia about this, not being able to speak their truth and heart and mind, because that's control as well. It's not allowed. Their opinions aren't allowed, and only offer them to the most destructive, unhelpful partners. And if they have kids, they're often can be taken into care, because they can't be trusted as parents to look after them responsibly, because of this rejection of almost control. You have to control kids to some extent, certainly young kids, and then you're supposed to try and let them relinquish some of that control. The more aware and responsible and capable they get as kids grow up. Some of these parents don't ever relinquish their control. It gets worse, it gets harder, more tighter, controlling, and this happens. These women end up can end up into prostitution and drug addiction, alcoholism, schizophrenia diagnosis, bipolar, mental illness, any kind of OCDs, but extremely broken, really. And not only because of the control, but often because there's an element of sexual abuse in their family as children. And they might be being abused by a family member, or their controlling parents, partner, or mother or father, or sister or brother, an auntie or uncle, or whoever it might be. Someone might be exploiting them as a child and taking pleasure out of them behind the, let's say, responsible parents or guardians' back or knowledge. And imagine that floating around a child's mind or adolescent's mind as they are being sexually exploited, but then controlled and told they can't have the boyfriend they want by the person they're most terrified of, often threats of, physical threats as well, to do or don't, do or nothing, my way or the highway, sort of attitude. And it's no wonder the people, and I imagine that trying to conceive of that and come out with a attitude of any amount of conservatism, like control or responsibility, or like attitude towards, like respectability, let's say. And we're talking about people who are looked down upon because of their behaviour, when they're not only abused as children, restricted as to what partners they can choose, but told they can't express their opinion about it as well. Anyway, as a child. And you'd be talking about people, these are people who have been sexually abused as children, and they're told they can't talk about it. At the same time, told they can't have certain boyfriends, or must have a certain type of boyfriend, or else. Now, we look down on these women, and prostitution, schizophrenia, paranoia, almost like words just as emotively charged and derided as paedophile, isn't it, really? They all fall into the same category. They're all like worthy of derision and nothing else. And these women are broken, and like, if it's a family member, it might be a sibling. But I might be having sexual activity with children at home. And I think they might really love them, really like them, respect their family members and love them and cherish them, and feel they have to keep the burden of that secret, not only because they're told they can't offer their opinion, but because they love them. And they don't know why they, might grow up to believe, quite happy about it, the activity or whatever it was or is, and become reacquainted or maintain the acquaintance with their brother or sister or family member or auntie or uncle, quite knock along, quite as adults, but have such a feeling of wondering why it happened, not knowing why it happened and why them, because they didn't want it or like it. It was forced upon them, or they were led into it. That they might wander around in a they might have they might they might grow to internalise their controlling parents' conservatism attitude towards sex and relationships, but wander around in a miasma of paranoia about the activities that actually happen behind their back, controlling parents' back, in their family, with their sibling or auntie, uncle, member of the family or whatever. And become very, very conservative towards it, or free with their sex lives or relationships, but have a crippling of misunderstanding of men's motives, perhaps, or freedom of expression. If they had their expression cut short, curtailed, cut off, they might, as adults, find relationships that are unviable because they end up respectable, clean, healthy, not addicted, but completely paranoid and unable to accept their partner's entitlement to freedom of choice, expression or view, or their partner's freedom, and just be very paranoid about their partner's activities, perhaps, or something like that. Suspect them of all sorts of unrelated, clearly paranoid delusions of events that they are convinced they've taken part in. Because they haven't. They're just sort of paranoid in that way. And and these might be psychiatric patients unable to escape the paranoia, but more helped, not so looked down upon, purely because of their conservatism, or acceptance of it, even though it's breaking their lives, broken their lives and relationships, and that's all I think I'll say about that at the moment.